They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. I'm way too fly, yeah, I'm feeling myself. Ain't no chance I'm coming down, no. Got a soul view to myself, yeah. Why would I give it up? Why do they wanna come take my place? I work too hard for it, don't need a replacement. This my vocation, now I got rollies all in rotation. Hop on a jet just to take a vacation. Remember the moments was trapped in the basement. Now the hard work is all taking me places. Squatting all black like we trapped in the matrix. Bet on myself and go ball out in Vegas. Living a life like I'm rich and I'm famous. Don't see the grind that I know that it came with. I know. They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you...
Yeah, mic check. Good morning. Good morning, everybody in the building. Salute to you guys, man. One more time, clap it up for yourselves. Oh. We back at it again, back at another one, man. Back at it again, man. Please, like Mr. Big Placeberry said in there, make sure you hit the like button when you come in. I am a little under the weather, ladies and gentlemen. I wasn't going to even come on, but I was like, you know what? Let me come and build with the family a little bit, even if it's just for an hour, some change. Just to, we do got things to talk about. It is Tuesday, News Day. You guys know how it is in the boxing space, and you guys know how it is with this channel. On Tuesday, we didn't come on since last Thursday, so all this stuff piles up, and a lot of things have been happening over the past 4 or 5 days. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to try to cover up as much of them as possible. We got Turki Alalshikh stirring the pot. Turkey's definitely stirring the pot. Got a lot of people nervous, a little nerve-wracked a little bit, right, people? People are a little nervous about what Turkey's doing. What is he actually representing? Is he trying to compete with the sanctioning bodies? Is he trying to eliminate the promoters? What is this thing that he's doing with Dana White, and what does that mean for boxing? And you guys already know that the space has been very resistant, to say the least, right? The space has been very resistant to Turkey's intentions, to his presence in boxing, and what exactly is he trying to do. Whenever you got a guy coming around with a lot of money, moving his weight around like that, it starts to raise some concerns. I think rightfully so, too, by the way. Rightfully so, right? But regardless, it's happening, and it's stirring the pot. And there's some pros and cons of this whole entire situation, right? Man, I'm like fogging up my glasses. That's how much I got a temperature, bro. That's so crazy. Yeah, so, it's bringing a lot of concern into the space. It's definitely bringing a lot of concern into what he's trying to do. What is it going to look like? Is he going to take over boxing? Is he going to steal boxing, take boxing to Saudi Arabia, and we never see boxing again? Leave it to his detractors. This guy's like the Donald Trump of boxing, right? He's here to change up the game. And for some people, that might be a good thing, right? I know me, myself, I'm pretty optimistic about what he's doing. I like the combination of him and Dana. And I think that at the end of the day, they never made any secret to what they were trying to do. Turkey at least didn't. So we'll talk about it, right? We've also got a final press conference that came out yesterday. The Fatal Fury in Los Angeles with Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, and counterparts, and Jose Ramirez, Honor Barbosa, and Rolly Romero, right? So that also came together. We saw Teofimo kind of steal the show yesterday. Teofimo looks like he's been working to steal the show. As cringeworthy as it is at times with him, it is what it is at this point. I think we just got to accept that this is who T.O. is, and this is what T.O.'s going to do. For T.O., the big thing is he going to back it up in the ring? His last couple of performances haven't been all that, they haven't been all that, the performance against Steve Claggett and Jermaine Ortiz, he looked regular. He looked pedestrian. This fight right here with Arnold Barboza, without a doubt, Arnold Barboza is going to come in with a strategy. He's going to box. He's going to punch when he can, but he's going to box. He's going to control the distance. He's going to force Teofimo to make something happen. Teofimo doesn't seem to like to get in the ring with those type of fighters. So we'll talk about that, what Teo's going to do, because off the back of a loss, what does that mean for Teofimo? One thing about this card that they're making for May 2nd is that these guys already have plans for the future, right? They already have plans on what their next fights are going to be, but this is all pending the results of the fights that they're in, right? This is all pending the fights that they're in, that they're successful and they gain victory in these fights. So at the end of the day, let's not put the carriage in front of the horse, right? One fight at a time. Ryan Garcia has to get through Rolly Romero, which I'm pretty confident he will. Devin Haney, of course, has to get through Jose Ramirez, and of course, Teofimo has to get through Arnold Barboza for them to move on to the next conversation and whatever it's going to be, right? What else do we got that we got to talk about today? Oh, yeah, for sure. We got to talk about Devin Haney and Bill Haney. Bill Haney, for the first time, guys, seems like he's bothered, right? I don't know. Usually Bill Haney seems like an unbothered person, seems like the kind of person that ultimately just kind of like embraces the hate, embraces the villain role, and just promotes. And it does seem this time around, him getting into it with Todd Grissom, it did seem like for the first time, I see somebody getting underneath Bill Haney's skin. And it raises some questions and concerns, right? It raises some questions and concerns, or maybe not so much concerns, maybe a little bit, right? Like, obviously, they know what's riding on this fight against Jose Ramirez. They understand what it is. And Bill Haney wasn't very happy about the approach that Todd Grissom took in introducing Devin, I guess. And the whole building was against Devin. I don't know if they expected it to be different. It was in Los Angeles, the backyard of Ryan Garcia. We already know what's going on with that. But Bill seemed bothered. He seemed bothered, right? He definitely seemed bothered about the situation. And you got to ask yourself, man, has the camp been frustrating? How confident are they? Normally, Bill Haney is a very confident person, basically saying that his son's going to beat everybody. But this is coming off of a loss. He's coming off of a loss against Ryan Garcia, even though I understand Ryan Garcia had the performance enhancement drugs in his system and the ruling was overturned and turned into a no contest. But as boxing fans and boxing pundits in the space, we saw what we saw, right, guys? We saw what we saw. We understand what happened in the ring. And, although I hold Ryan Garcia very accountable for what he did as far as the performance enhancement drugs are concerned, like Ryan said, I'd have to agree with him. Performance enhancement drugs isn't going to make you drop that right hand and keep getting hit with left hooks over and over again, right? But let's see what happens. Devin is working on going up in weight. I once myself thought he should go up in weight. There were rumors that he was going to still compete at 140. I thought that was a bad idea. Clearly, he talked about it with his team, and they came to an understanding that that's not what they want to do. They want to go ahead and move up in weight, and let's stop making these bad weight cuts. We'll talk about that as well. What else is going on in the boxing space? We have Richard Hitchens looking to make a fight with George Kambosos, which is interesting on the back end of a Subriel Matias victory for a title eliminator. It does seem like we got to talk about a little bit. Is Richardson Hitchens really going to be able to compete with that IBF title with that rehydration clause? He's aiming to make unification fights so he can get around that rehydration clause. That hasn't worked out for him. He was trying to get Teofimo Lopez. We see Teofimo's getting ready to fight Arnold Barboza, fight his mandatory. And Subriel Matias, coming off of his victory, really is the mandatory or the first in line, should be the first in line to fight against Richardson Hitchens. But he's looking at George Kambosos, who himself has a fight and needs to win that fight before he can make it a fight with Hitchens. Is Hitchens ducking Subriel Matias? We'll talk about it, right? We'll talk about it because there's ducking happening. There's ducking happening all the time, right? Is ducking fear always fear or aligned with fear? I think so. I think to a degree, ducking is aligned with some fear. You understand the opponent that's in front of you. Subriel Matias does check those boxes as far as being a boogeyman in the division, although he came off of a loss against Liam Paro. Listen, it wasn't a super dominant loss. We know what he can do. We know that performance from him against Liam Paro probably wasn't the Subriel Matias we're used to. I think he's kind of still keeping that boogeyman persona about him. And Hitchens wanting to fight him with the rehydration clause on him. His punch resistance isn't going to be where it needs to be. We'll talk about that as well with Hitchens, right? And there's rumors that Vergil Ortiz is also in negotiations with Bakhram Murtalazayev. Murtazaliev. Interesting, right? Vergil Ortiz nonstop going for the hardest fights, it seems. And you would think that at some point, making it to where he's made it at, he might take a tune-up, right? And kind of just wait out the Sebastian Fundora, Tordell Booker fight, or, just trying to see what opportunities that could be out there for him. And I guess Bakhram is available. Bakhram looks like he's ready to fight anybody. But another hard fight with another hard Eastern European, right, for Vergil Ortiz. We're going to talk about that as well. He's been on a roll. He's been doing his thing. But listen, Bakhram might be the boogeyman of the 154-pound weight class division. One of the hardest punchers, obviously, in the division. You've seen what he did with Tim Tszyu. And he's a great boxer. That Eastern European, once again, those Eastern Europeans aren't here to participate. They're here to take over. That's their mission statement, right? And we'll see what that negotiation looks like, right? We got to see what that looks like. But Vergil Ortiz taking nothing but the hardest fights. And then once we finish talking about all those things, we'll open up the panel, of course, for the community to come up and build on what they want to build on, right? It is what it is. I apologize, guys. I'm feeling so out of it, but let's get to the first topic here. Turkey stirs the pot, promoters on notice. Turki Alalshikh stirring the pot with the announcement last week of what he was doing with Dana White. And it's got everybody kind of in a stir frenzy. He made statements that made the promoters kind of a little paranoid. Things like Dana's going to come and take over boxing, right? I'm giving the reins of boxing to Dana White. And, obviously the Oscar De La Hoyas, the Eddie Hearns, the Frank Warrens, they're gonna hold some concerns with that, right? A little disrespect. We've been doing this and promoting boxing a long time, well over 20 years. To look at Bob Arum, somebody who's probably been promoting for well over 40 years, going on 50 years probably with Bob Arum. They don't want to hear about no guy coming from the UFC coming to take over boxing, and with a finance. With the backing of a Turki Alalshikh, and even with TKO, who, by the way, they're sitting on a lot of money as well. They own and do the production for the WWE as well as UFC. Turkey's threat is a real threat, right? Right? Salute Band Up. Salute J Pitt City. Salute. It's a real threat when you have somebody like that with that kind of backing, because Turkey can simply just do things that other promoters just can't do. And keeping in mind, of course, that Turkey's still working with the promoters on events he has. You look at the event coming up with just yesterday, the Fatal Fury event was a Turkey event, right? And you look at the event coming up with oh my goodness, with the Golden Boy versus Matchroom, and Matchroom versus Queensberry again. So he's still doing the work, but he's made this company, this league, this boxing league that he wants to put together, sort of like his dream child, his little work in progress, right? And it's shaking up the space. It's definitely shaking up the space. And you got to ask yourself, where does the sanctioning bodies and the promoters sit in this conversation? In other words, if Turkey's going to take away, if he's going to make everything about the Ring Magazine belt, and he's going to have Dana White push this league, what's going to keep the fighters on the other side of the fence, right? On the other side of the street. Keep them with Oscar, keep them with Eddie Hearn, keep them with Frank Warren. When they can stay busy, have the activity, and ultimately you would think the paydays might still be there in this boxing league. One belt makes it a little bit easier for the fans to deal with. You got to ask yourself, when it's all said and done, does boxing as we know it stand in the same space that it does? And is that a bad thing? Is that a bad thing for boxing to change at this point? We're coming off of a very controversial decision and lack of, people might consider it corruption. And I'm talking about Gervonta Tank Davis in the infamous knee, the infamous timeout during the fight. We're coming off the back end of something like that and seeing how boxing can show its corruption in different ways, right? And you have to ask yourself, what is it going to change something like that, right? Shout out to Mr. Big Play Bray with the $2 holla. Thank you for the support, brother. What is it going to take to change that up? It would seem clean house, because boxing's been moving the way it's been moving for so long. I don't think Turkey realistically believes that he's going to come into boxing and change the way that the sanctioning bodies operate, right? I mean, let's be honest. Like, they've been doing this generation to generation. And when you look at somebody like Mauricio Suleiman, who's a second generation, his father, right, who started WBC, and you see how he operates and how he wants to move it. You see how he treats Canelo Alvarez, but then you see what he does with David Benavidez, right? You see what he does with David Benavidez and Dimitri Bivol. All of a sudden, he's calling a mandatory out for Dimitri Bivol to defend his WBC title against David Benavidez. And meanwhile, with Canelo Alvarez, you know, there's never any pressure. So there's biasness in there. And it's interesting because you see Mauricio Suleiman speak on, you know, how Ring Magazine is biased and it's a business, and it's not, you know, it's not for boxing as much as people think it is. But Mauricio Suleiman, very interesting that he would choose to take that position, being that he has a history of following the money, right? Of keeping his belt in the conversation where the biggest bags are at. You know what I mean? Like I said, you see how he's done it with Canelo Alvarez. It's interesting to watch him kind of point a finger at Turki Alalshikh and Ring Magazine and kind of try to paint them into a corner of being potentially corrupt, potentially biased, right? It is what it is. But when it's all said and done, where do these guys stay? Mauricio Suleiman pushes back, but, you know, for all intent purposes, retracts his statements and says he's all for what Turkey's doing. There's definitely some concern going on in the game, but there's also some understanding that you don't want to get on Turki Alalshikh's bad side. I think all these guys are realizing that Turkey's going to do what he wants to do, but at the same time, do these sanctioning bodies and do these promoters want to take Turki Alalshikh on head up? Do they want to go to war with Saudi Arabia with a PIF fund with over $900 million in it for you know, putting together these events? Can they even compete on that level? These guys are looking for opportunity as well. And Turkey's, as he's paying the fighters, the promoters are getting money, right? So we have to see what the middle ground is going to be. Where's the middle ground going to be? We don't know yet. Time will tell that story. I've told you guys before, this is probably going to be a 3 to 5 year process before we even get a real good hold and understanding of what Turkey's doing with Dana White. We have to see if that model will even be successful in boxing. But it is what it is when it comes down to the pot being stirred. And Mauricio Suleiman definitely has to feel like he's under fire a little bit. He has to feel the pressure on him as far as Turkey doing what we saw him do recently. We just saw Turkey kind of make a statement in his own right with Canelo Alvarez in the WBC title that Canelo was going to take. We've seen Turkey kind of take a stance, right? What was that all about? What was the warning all about? Why would Turkey would not allow Canelo Alvarez to have that WBC title on there? That within itself is a statement. And these guys have had a relationship, right? Turkey seems to have always wanted to work with Mauricio Suleiman. Mauricio Suleiman has always had an open door policy with Turki Alalshikh. We know that they're coordinating that Grand Prix, the Prospect Grand Prix, which is supposed to be over 168 fighters, I believe 132 fighters. Don't quote me. But these are big events that Turkey's coordinating with these guys. But at the same exact time, he's taking advantage of the opportunity and the moment to go ahead and to take the moment to go ahead and start his own league up that doesn't involve the WBC. And that has to raise some concerns. When Turkey first came in the game, we saw him go ahead and bridge a middle ground, a compromise ground with him and between Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren. We've seen him bringing all the promoters together. That's what he said he was going to do. That's what he said he was going to bring to the table, was we want all the promoters to work together. And he did it successfully. Many of events where we see Turkey going ahead and bringing in PBC fighters and top ranked fighters and Matchroom fighters and Queensberry fighters, even doing a 5v5 with Queensberry and Matchroom. He moved all these things, right? But ultimately, at the end of the day, we all knew that at some point, Turkey had a bigger plan. He definitely had a bigger plan. And some people kind of saw it coming and kind of stayed out the way, right? Some people saw what was coming and kind of stayed out the way, took it, one fight at a time, didn't necessarily jump into bed with Turki Alalshikh. Maybe that was intelligent of them. Who knows? But when it's all said and done, Turki's going to do what Turki came to do, which is have Saudi Arabia's best interest, right? Shout out to Ray Davis with the $10 holla in the building. Says, smash the like button, support real boxing talk, still on everyone's payroll, but theirs. Ha, no doubt, Ray, for sure. It is what it is, right? So we're watching Turki Alalshikh make his moves, and we're watching the boxing space react to it. It is what it is. We'll see. We'll see what happens as the time moves on. Let's move on to Fatal Fury yesterday. Ryan Garcia eyes on Devin Haney. Interestingly enough, these guys really didn't communicate like that in the last press conference they had in New York, but chose to go ahead and kind of address each other a little bit on this panel, on this press conference yesterday, and kind of spoke finally for the first time. Obviously, Ryan Garcia in his hometown getting a lot of support, and, Devin Haney, not getting the support, right? Being the villain and having to go ahead and take the villain role. These guys eyeing each other, but at the same time, Devin seems to be more focused on Jose Ramirez, but Ryan says, he's kind of looking past Rolly Romero a little bit, right? Looking past him a little bit just to kind of say that he's looking to get at Devin Haney. Well, you're not going to get to Devin Haney unless you get through Rolly Romero, right? Ryan looking a lot more poised, looking a lot more professional. I told you guys last week, I'm appreciative of this new Ryan Garcia I'm seeing. I don't know how long it's going to be that he's going to be that way. I don't know if the reasoning is behind maybe he, maybe he's dealing with the court case, right? And he doesn't want to get into it with Devin Haney about anything. He's trying to keep his words to a minimum. Maybe he's rehabilitated. Maybe he's figuring that he's made a bad image for himself and that he's looked kind of crazy out here in these YouTube streets, and on the boxing space. And maybe he's taking that to heart and changing the way he is. But he does seem focused, and he's in the camp with Eddie Reynoso, and those guys aren't taking no BS. He's having to probably be a lot more disciplined in putting these in getting ready for this fight. What does this Ryan Garcia look like against Devin Haney, against Rolly Romero, against these fighters? It looks like, I believe this fight with Rolly Romero is going to be for a WBA regular title. So this will be his first title fight where he'll actually have a title, right? He'll be a champion, and will be once he gets that win from Rolly Romero, he'll be defending his title, as well as, maybe pushing some unification fights at 147, getting right in the conversations of your Drawn Boots Ennis's, right? Of your Stanionis's, your Drawn, whoever wins, there'll be a unified champion there. Mario Barrios, right? He's going to be in those conversations and looking to do what? Let me see. Clara, I need to not pay attention. Step on a bear trap for me, bro. Wait, step on a bear trap for me, bro. 100. No doubt. Flyer frequency. No doubt. I'm so out of it, man. I'm so out of it. But yeah, we got to see what Ryan Garcia is going to look like. I'm interested in seeing what he looks like. I think without a doubt in that last fight he had against Devin Haney, there had to be some fear there, right? A little bit of anxiety. Devin Haney, being the boxer he is and the accolades he's receiving, and Ryan knows Devin. And it seems like he was trying to undermine the fight, almost trying to get out of the fight at times. But with a victory he just got over Devin Haney and the way he did it, probably surprised himself a little bit. And now you see a very confident Ryan, a Ryan that really kind of gone back to the Ryan that first came into boxing when he first became a pro. And he's a lot more calm, and he's a lot more confident in himself. And I'm interested in seeing what this Ryan looks like against Devin Haney. Definitely interested in seeing what Devin Haney looks like as well, coming off that loss, right? Definitely interested in seeing what he looks like. The PTSD there. Has he gotten over it? He got clipped a lot. It's going to be interesting to see if he's kind of punchy as far as scared of getting hit a little bit, right? We'll see what he does. In more news, Ring Magazine drops Gervonta Tank Davis from the top 10 pound-for-pound list. That's interesting. And I'm sure the boxing space is going to, especially the Tank fans, are going to hold some contention with that decision, right? They want Tank to be there in the top 10 pound-for-pound list. And like I said, with Tank, what a talented fighter he is. But it's something about not fighting your contemporaries. He just came off of a fight with the Lamont Roach that most people would agree he lost. I believe most people would agree that he lost. And looking very, very distracted, looking very pedestrian in that fight. And not against a fighter who people were asking for him to fight against, right? A fighter who he pulled up from 130 to 135, giving him all those issues. Listen, at some point or another, Tank Davis is going to have to decide where he wants to be in his career. It looks like he has. For all intent and purposes, it looks like Tank has made his decision. He's okay with just getting the big paychecks and fighting the easiest fights he can fight and staying out the way until he retires. But the fans are going to be upset that he's not in that top 10 list. And of course, they're going to point to corruption. They're going to say Ring Magazine is biased, this, that, and the other. But when you look at the top 10 pound for pound list that they have, it's kind of hard to argue with that list. You know what I mean? Let me see here. Clay, let's talk about something. You heard the difference in Ryan's voice last year in the pressers and this one. Ryan's voice was giving all of the signs of PED use last year. Now he sounds like a teenager again. Yeah, Ryan, I agree with you here for boxing. I think that Ryan, and I said that last year, Ryan was looking a lot more tense, a lot more angry, right? Last year. This year, he's more poised, so he's probably not on anything in comparison to last year, where it looks like he, clearly he was on something because it was in his system. How was it affecting his mood changes and how he was feeling? We can all argue that, and no more erratic behavior so suddenly. No doubt here for boxing. No doubt. I've definitely noticed that. About Ryan. He's, like I said earlier, super poised now. Way different than he was last year. You see the difference in him. But, one could argue that had a lot to do with anxiety and fear. And that he doesn't have that anxiety and fear anymore. He's actually very confident in himself and what he can do. So he's kind of carrying it accordingly, right? It is what it is. Salute Eastside Easy in the building. Salute my guy. What's good, man? It is what it is, right? But Ring Magazine drops Gervonta from the top 10 pound for pound list. I ain't gonna lie, I'm in agreement with it. I'm okay with it. I know people aren't gonna want to, they're not gonna want to hear that. They're gonna want to say some corruption and some other nonsense, but the reality is Tank hasn't been fighting his contemporaries. He hasn't been unifying. He hasn't been doing special things in the sport as of late. He's a special fighter. When you see him in the ring, you see the talent, you see the IQ, obviously the power's there. He's checking a lot of boxes, but he's not doing these things against his contemporaries. He's not doing it against the fights that we know he needs to have in order for him to be in these conversations. So naturally, he's going to get pulled away from the pound for pound list and from the accolade list. And when comparing him against his contemporaries like Devin Haney, David Benavidez, Alexander Usyk, Terrence Crawford, when you talk about all those fighters, Monster Inoue, they're doing great things. Tank just is choosing not to right now. And until he does, what do y'all got want to happen with him? It is what it is, right? So we'll see what Tank does in his next decision on his next fight. I'm assuming it's going to be Lamont Roach. After that, we'll see who he picks to fight. Depending on obviously him beating Lamont Roach. Now that we know Lamont Roach is a live dog, we'll see what ends up happening. Bill is fed up father. Yeah, for sure. So in more news, Bivol and Benavidez in the works. Quite big question mark on that for me, guys. Big question mark as to whether Bivol and Benavidez is in the works. Why? We saw what Turki Alalshikh responded to Bivol, kind of letting him know, like, remember who butters your bread, right? Remember who butters your bread. Is Bivol in negotiations with David Benavidez for a fight? That's what the streets are saying. I'll be honest with you. I feel like Turki Alalshikh is kind of, as a side effect of the way he's coming into the game, it's kind of forcing promoters to kind of have to step out their comfort zone and do special things, right? And I think we might be seeing Al Heyman or PBC reaching out across the street to Eddie Hearn in Matchroom and trying to make something happen. But how much money are they going to bring to the table in order to make this fight happen? David Benavidez, without a doubt, is a face of the PBC right now. Not the face yet, but a face of the PBC. So the PBC might want to put their resources behind him and try to make the biggest fights possible. Getting David Benavidez to be an undisputed champion helps a large amount with promoting the PBC and promoting that promotional platform. But what are they really offering? What are they putting on the table in comparison to what Turkey's offering Dimitri Bivol to fight Better BF for a trilogy? I'll tell you guys the truth. I think I'd rather see Dimitri Bivol fight against David Benavidez over Artur Better BF. I wouldn't mind if the Artur Better BF fight didn't happen, 2 fights down the road. But Artur Better BF is in his 40s, right? Early 40s, 40, 41 years old. Time is not on his side. He kind of has to jump on an opportunity right now while it's in front of him. He doesn't really have the ability to sit there and just fight other fights and then fight Dimitri Bivol somewhere down the line. Eventually, he's going to wake up one morning and realize he's old. It is what it is. Let me see. Champ Rose says Samson came out denying those negotiations for what it's worth. Exactly, Champ Ross. I didn't hear him say that, but I was in question of it from the beginning. I'm be honest with you. I really didn't see it. It didn't make sense to me. And especially with Bivol coming out and responding, saying that he stays with his promoters, Turki Alalshikh, Eddie Hearn, Matchroom. He kind of responded to Turki Alalshikh's statement. And nothing he said in that statement made me believe he's going to work with David Benavidez and putting a fight together. And not to mention the fight is going to be super competitive. How much money you guys are going to bring to the table in order to get Dimitri Bivol to be interested in putting a fight like that together? I don't put it past none of these guys. They're fighters. That Eastern European mindset always wants to challenge themselves and put themselves in position to fight the most challenging fights, the fights that are going to mean something to their legacy. But it just didn't make sense, right? Artur Beterbiev and Dimitri Bivol 3, although it might not be as exciting as a Dimitri Bivol and a David Benavidez fight, it's they're familiar with each other. There's a lot of money involved in it. I can see Dimitri Bivol, honestly, from my perspective, vacating that WBC title, allowing David Benavidez to go ahead and become the full WBC champion. And then we'll probably see Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev running again. They don't need undisputed on the line anymore. They both were undisputed. They just need to fight to find out who's the best between them. And then later down the road, the winner of those guys can fight against David Benavidez, a WBC champion, and probably lock him into the division, right? David Benavidez has kind of been talking about potentially going to cruiserweight to fight Zurdo Ramirez and compete up there. If you get him a title at 175, he'll probably hang back, maybe defend his title against a Caleb Smith or, make one of those fights happen. And we'll see what ends up happening with that. But I don't know. I'm hearing that the negotiations aren't really there. That is just an interest, mostly from the David Benavidez side, on making this fight. And I don't know if Dimitri Bivol has necessarily been responding to it. Let me see here. Flyer Frequency said, so should Benavidez get a shot before that trilogy? Should he and will he? It is what it is, right? Should he or will he? Yeah, I did answer it. Should he? Maybe. Will he? Probably not. Right? Probably not. No matter what Bill, Terrence Crawford, etc. do, there are certain channels will ask why didn't they just adopt them all? Yeah. Channels will always find a problem with it. It is what it is. Oh, J Pit City says he should. Hunter, Bill was doing Bill things. He just needed to find a fuse to explode on because Dev has been irrelevant for so long. Yeah. I think Bill Haney's kind of, I ain't gonna lie, I think Bill Haney's kind of the way I saw him act yesterday, like I said, that was the first time I ever seen Bill Haney look bothered. And I thought that was profound. How bothered he looked, how he was calling out Todd Grissom, saying that, cursing at him. This is Ramadan. I know that they're Muslim. This is Ramadan. This is not the time to be cursing people out and getting into these type of conversations. I'd like to think that Bill Haney is a disciplined type of person who's always, kept his cool, never gotten too far out of his own comfort zone. This time around, he looked like he kind of got out of hand a little bit. And it kind of seems like he's a little nerve-wracked about things. And that to me, that means that they're probably realizing how much is running on this fight going the right way between Devin and Jose Ramirez. Here for boxing, Flyer Frequency, Hunter, Bill. How is Devin irrelevant when your favorite channel's talking about him 24/7? Hunter Young, stop hating, bro. It is what it is. It is what it is. Guys, I'm so out of it, man. Really trying to hold it down right now. Richardson Hitchens looking to fight George Kambosos, and the question has to come up: is Hitchenson ducking Subriel Matias at this point? Subriel Matias is the mandatory for the IBF title. It is what it is. I think at this point, I think it's fair to say that Hitchenson doesn't want to have any smoke with Subriel Matias. He doesn't want to. He just doesn't want to fight him under the, at least at a minimum, underneath the rehydration clause. Maybe you can argue that he just doesn't want to fight him at all, but at a minimum, that rehydration clause has him not want to get in the ring with a Subriel Matias. He doesn't want to get concussed in that ring. It is what it is. At this point, you got to call a spade a spade. Call a duck a duck. It's walking like a duck. It's quacking like a duck. At this point, it might just be a duck, right? It might just be a duck. And Hitchens, you have to ask yourself, if Hitchens can't operate underneath that rehydration clause, I don't see him vacating that belt. Does he consider going up to 147 to compete, against the winner of Stanionis and Boots Ennis? Does he use that belt and leverage it for some sort of title shot at 147? Or does he just leave the division completely? Because if the weight cut is killing you, it is what it is at this point with Hitchenson, right? If the weight cut is killing you and you can't put it together to compete at the highest level, then you're probably too big for the division. You're weight draining yourself, right? Crypto Chris said, "No, Clay, Bill was calling out the racially biased commentary of Todd." Yeah, he probably was. Maybe he was, but he was very upset. He seemed upset to me. He seemed bothered. Normally, Bill doesn't look bothered. Bill's been dealing with a lot of pushback since he started speaking on Devin Haney's behalf, and he's always been able to smile through it and kind of do his thing. He called out Todd Grissom on this one, and it seemed like he was really bothered at the way his son was portrayed. So maybe he was calling out some racially biased commentary or whatever have you, but at the end of the day, it bothered him. And I wonder why it bothered him all of a sudden. This is not the first time Bill Haney's heard negative things about Devin or himself. What bothered him this time around? It is what it is, right? Frequency says Hitchens showed his fear when Matias had the belt, had no problem when it wasn't Matias with the belt. Exactly. I agree, Flyer Frequency. He was talking about not even competing for that IBF title because of the rehydration clause. Then as soon as Liam Paro beat Subriel Matias, boom, all of a sudden he wants to activate his mandatory and fight against Liam Paro. Clearly, the Subriel Matias presence is starting to move Hitchens around. It's kind of showing the world and exposing him as a duck. He was too heated to properly express himself. Yeah, Crypto Chris, for sure. For sure. He was. He definitely was, man. He was way too heated, man. And like I said, I wonder what that means. There's a lot of pressure on them. It is what it is. Vergil Ortiz versus Bakhram Murtazaliev in the works, supposedly. They're negotiating. They're trying to put this fight together. Vergil Ortiz seems like he's kind of being impatient to me, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know if Vergil Ortiz needs to I don't know if he needs to fight Bakhram right now, right? I don't know. He's a WBC interim title holder. Sebastian Fundora has that title. Why get in the ring with a Bakhram right now? I don't know. You have a great momentum going for you. You're a draw at this point. People want to see you fight. Bakhram just seems to be, people have been paying this guy step aside money for a minute. Nobody wants to get in the ring with him. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But I think Vergil might want to slow down a little bit. I'm here to watch the fight. If they put that fight together, let's make it happen. If he beats Bakhram Murtazaliev, I think that Vergil becomes the best guy at 154, in my opinion. That's how I feel about it. Maybe he is already. Maybe he understands that and he knows by beating Bakhram that this is a big fight for him. If Vergil takes this win, it's gonna change up a lot in the division 154. Let me see here. Oscar Perez says, "What's up, Claymore?" Apparently, Vergil team didn't even know about the fight, so Bakhram team announced it. Okay, Oscar, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me because I'm gonna tell you the truth. I don't think Vergil needs to get in the ring with that dude right now. I think he's come off of 2 really competitive fights. These Eastern Europeans are not easy to fight against, and he's like the Eastern European killer at this point. He beat Serhii Balchuk in a close contested fight, and then he beat Israel Madrimov. For him to jump in the ring with a Bakhram seems a little extreme. I don't know if he really needs to do that. Vergil is much better than Tim Tszyu. Yeah, Jay Will. Is he better than Tim Tszyu? I guess. I don't know. Tim Tszyu's not the same fighter he was, I would say, ever since that Sebastian Fedorov fight. It seems like he's changed a little bit. Seems like that cut on his head and that experience has kind of changed him a little bit. Before that Sebastian Fedorov fight, I think there was an argument to say that Tim Tszyu was the best 154-pounder in the division. So it's kind of crazy right now for him that he comes off of a loss like this against Bakhram, and all of a sudden he's at the bottom of the barrel, about to set up a fight with Keith Thurman. Kind of crazy, right? Yeah, Vergil Pops was like, "That's funny. I'm his father, and I didn't notice." Yeah, J Pitt, for sure. Ant McQueen, salute. Ant McQueen, how you doing, fam? He says, "I like Murder Zaliev, but I believe he's a tad bit cumbersome, and that leaves him susceptible to exploitation." I don't know. I mean, everybody has their weak spots, and the question is, how does he look in front of the fighters in the division that he's in? Right now, I see him giving issues to everybody in that division. The one fighter I say might have like a kind of an X factor is Sebastian Fedorov. We need to see how he looks against Shordell Booker. Let's see what he's been working on for the past year. I think with all those physical attributes he brings to the table, he's supposed to be a threat to everybody. But outside of that, Bakhram seems to offer a threat to every single person in the division. Some might say he's the best 154-pounder in the division. I don't know, like, how you feel about that, if you think he's where you put him as far as ranking him as far as at 154. But there isn't too many fighters in 154, I think, dealing with him like that. It is what it is. So if Vergil's able to take him down, that's a big statement. Vergil is doing what great fighters should be doing here for boxing. I agree with you. On that. Him challenging Bakhram is what we want these fighters to do. It's what we want these fighters to do, man. We want them to fight the best. So if that's what he's going to do, I'm gonna support it. But I would think, just as far as like from Oscar De La Hoya's point of view and the people that are moving him through his career, why throw him in the blender? His last two fights have been high-level fights. Give him a tune-up. Give him a stay busy fight. Let the division kind of work itself out a little bit. Let Sebastian Fedorov and Shordell Booker figure it out. Let's see if Bakhram can get another fight. You know what I mean? Let's see what happens in the division. Let's see what opens up, what happens. You got Xander Zayas also. He's ranked pretty high in the WBO rankings, so he's also trying to get at Sebastian Fedorov. There's fights that are there to be made. I don't know if he needs to rush into the ring with a Bakhram, personally, but it is what it is. Clay, I always say you're only as good as your last fight. 100%, Ray Davis. Forget protecting that. Oh, a win over Mirzal makes him a star. No doubt here for boxing. Crypto Chris says Vergil has a newfound confidence after the Serhi and Madrimov fight. Yeah, Crypto Chris, it seems like that, right? And he should be confident. Those are two very difficult fights. Although, listen, man, things happen. There's no excuses that are supposed to be made, but, Madrimov coming off of an upper respiratory infection, a couple of months prior to that, his cardio and his conditioning seems to be affected in that fight between him and Vergil. So I don't think he got the best Madrimov, the best version of Madrimov. It's still a win, though, not to take anything from the win. But that confidence can be false confidence to a degree. If you get in there with a healthy Bakhram, it could be a problem. Let me see here. Aaron McQueen, salute, bro. Aaron McQueen, salute, frequent. No doubt. So it is what it is. I don't know if that's a fight he needs to put together. We'll see what he does. It is what it is. I'm feeling a little under weather, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link out there if guys want to jump on the channel and we could build. Help me out a little bit. Definitely feeling that burn right now. There's a link if you guys want to hop up and build with the kid. It's open up. This show is not going to be that long today. I'm feeling like trash. So I just want to kind of build a little bit. If anybody wants to jump up, please feel free to do so. Yeah, Eddie. Thank you, man. Thank you, Eddie. Yeah, man. My wife got the flu, got me all sick. Crazy, bro. And that's crazy because I just got COVID like a month ago. And now I got the flu. This has been the craziest year for me. I've never gotten sick this much this year in a year before. Usually I get sick one time. Sometimes I don't even get sick for the whole year. It is what it is. It is what it is. You got kids, and my wife works with kids at the school. You know what I mean? So Them dirty little, those kids are the worst, bro. They touching everything. Everything. And then it's Ramadan. It is what it is, right? You can't make this stuff up. So we fasting, we doing all that, and we sick. Crazy. It's crazy. No doubt, Ray. Bruce Gas, salute, Bruce Gas. What's good with you, man? Salute. Salute. Expedient recover, bro. Yeah, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. But guys, what do you guys think about this card coming up in Times Square? You think it's a little OD? How do you think they're gonna go ahead and put this together in Times Square? I think it's gonna be kind of interesting to see how they do this. Turkey saying that there's gonna be a limited amount of people allowed around the ring, obviously. So it seems like a pay-per-view is gonna be more of a spectacle, right? Just 3 fights. It's gonna be interesting to see how they bring this thing full circle and how they bring it together, to be honest with you. I'm very interested in seeing how that's going to look. Let me see here. 300 seats. Right, Bruce Gas, that's what I'm hearing. 300 seats, right? I'm trying to get in Turkey's DM, trying to get in his inbox and see if he can send the boy a ticket, you know what I mean? Let's let some new talent up in there by the ring to report on this boxing. It's just 3 fights. I think so, Jay Will. I think it's just 3 fights. I think it's just going to be those 3 fights. It's going to be free, so I don't think he's going to stack it up with no 10 fights in the middle of Times Square and not charge them. It's the crayon box, Clay, with the kids. Oh, yeah, you talking about, yeah, man. These kids, man. It's diabolical, man. It's diabolical. She come home, she gets sick, and then we all getting sick. My stepson is upstairs. He's sick. He's in the room right now. He missed school today. We all sick, man. But at least we're all sick at the same damn time, right? So she just went back to work today. She was, she pretty much since last Thursday was sick, and just I don't even think she's fully 100% right now, to be honest with you. Super Ray to the rescue. Yeah, man. Super Ray to the rescue. Ray needed to bring his tail up here. I'm definitely out of it. Got that Dayquil in me, which is helping to a degree. They bring it in like the New Year's celebration. Yeah. At Candyland, who said His Excellency is paying you, Ray and Blue. Yeah. Listen, man, I want them to keep speaking to it because, yeah, man, maybe he will cut us a check, man. I'd love to work with His Excellency, straight up. But I look at that when I hear stuff like that. You got my chest going a little bit. I'm trying not to cough because it hurts so much to cough. When I hear stuff like that, it lets me know that we're doing our job, right? That clearly we're doing our job. For people to feel like we're worth being paid off to it kind of speaks to what they think our influence is in the space. And I got no problem with that. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? I'm totally okay with that. That's actually a compliment. It's flattering, you know what I'm saying, to hear people kind of talk like that about me. You know what I mean? To say that, I'm being paid off to do these things. And, I think that's an interest. I like it. I'm all for it. You're muted, Ray. I don't know if you're trying to talk. You're muted. You're muted. Yeah, you're muted. Yeah, you're muted. Hold on a second. Oh. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I had something on. I had to take off. Let me see here. M Queen, pay more rain. No doubt, Ant. Pay more rain. Maybe I should change my name. Maybe I should change my name. But yeah, I love that. You know, I mean, we stay in these guys' mouths, and they always find a moment in time to say something, to mention our names. I think that's cool. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie to you. I think it's kind of cool. Kind of flattered by it. I know it may sound crazy, but it does. It flatters me a little bit when I hear it, when all the hating going on. It's interesting. You know what I mean? It's interesting that people kind of see you in a way you don't even necessarily see yourself in. That's what it comes down to, right? They see you in a way you don't even see yourself yet. You know, maybe I'm a little too humble. You know what I mean? And they see something to where they gotta, you know, they want to tear it down and do all that thing. What's up, ETB? What's good, man? What's good, Fly Frequency? What's
Clay,
good, Ken?
What's going on, Clay?
I'm chilling, man. What's good, man? You come to save me?
What happened to Ray? I ain't see him. See what happened to him.
Oh, let me see. You know what? He's right here.
Yeah.
Yo, Ray, you there?
Yeah. I'm there now. Yeah. I don't know what was going on with the what's the name? You know what I mean? I'm gonna put some light up in here.
What's the name?
I ain't in the car. You know what I mean? Because if I ain't my usually bright self, y'all gonna understand how dark I am. So, you know, gotta make sure y'all see how y'all get the extra lightness out.
No doubt.
Man, this is definitely a crazy day, man. We got a power outage here on my whole block. A dump truck came through and snatched down the whole pole that hold the power lines and everything. So
Hold on. Flyer, you know what that is? According to these YouTube streets, that's Turki Alalshikh trying to take out Philadelphia because he went to fights in New York.
No, I need somebody to get Padley on the line. Didn't they say he an electrician?
Yeah.
There you go. Yo, crazy work, bro.
No covers all fighters fairly and evenly of being paid off. Exactly here for boxing. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. What do you guys think about this at this point? What do you guys think about this David Benavidez Dimitri Bivol fight? Like, do you think this is actually happening?
No. I think I stand on what I said before. I think they want the rematch. They got to give the respect to the dude that gave the rematch initially. Give him a shot. Age is for Father Time is playing a big part in this. Unless Better Be decides that he needs to take off, maybe 6 months or so. Then he'll just chill, relax, and let it happen. And then Benavidez can move into the picture. But I think Benavidez, like I said, it's an opportunity for him. Who's ever heard of a 3-belt unified interim champion? That's something unheard of. I don't think we ever seen that before. And he has an opportunity to make history and just that point of the whole boxing situation. So, I mean, that's a big part there. And if they decide to give him the fight, man, good luck to him. I just hope he don't move out of the division because it's gonna be hard for him to keep making and pushing weights. It's going to change his. It's going to end up being a Roy Jones situation for him. Can't keep going up and down, man. You got to stay where you are and just kick it for a little bit. You just got there.
Yeah, I think that. Like I said from the beginning, I didn't see it. It didn't make sense to me. I know when I saw the information coming out saying they're getting finalized. I'm like, really? I'm like, okay, you know, I could be wrong. I didn't see that fight coming together, man. Like, I didn't see Dimitri Bivol moving away from Turki, doing something that Turki would be, you know, not in agreement with. You know what I mean? Like, if Turki says he don't want it, Dimitri Bivol I have to believe that Dimitri Bivol realizes that Turki Alalshikh is giving him his biggest paydays, giving him the biggest fights possible. Without Turki Alalshikh, where would he have been? He would have never seen the Undisputed. He would never seen the paydays that he's been getting. So why in the world would he go ahead and, you know, negotiate outside of Turki? You know, why would he do that? You know,
exactly. I was going to say, I would like to think that Turki has enough pull to get Bivol to do what he want him to do, you know, as far as, you know, not fighting Benavidez. And like you said, worst case scenario, he probably dropped the belt, you know, give up that belt, let Benavidez go ahead and get the belt because he's the interim champion or whatnot. They elevate him, and then him and Beterbiev, you know, go ahead and handle their business with the trilogy, and then they can go back and see Bivol on the back end.
I agree with you, man.
Right.
I think that
that
Undisputed
worked.
is
Yep.
there for him. I think that fight is there
That
for him
worked
later.
too.
You know, I think Better BF is on the other side of 40. You know what I mean? He's getting old. That fight, if it's going to happen, needs to happen sooner rather than later.
Yep.
It can't wait. It can't wait. And Better BF will get rusty if he sits on the sideline waiting on Bivol to go fight a fight in the summertime with David Benavidez. So when they're going to fight next year, like October, November, what are they going to do? Nah, I don't see it happening that way. I don't see why Bivol would play that game. But we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens.
Right.
If
All right, I'm at the
Beterbiev
crib.
win,
I'm
do
gonna be
you
right
think
back.
if Beterbiev win, do you think he fights Benavidez, or you think he just hangs it up at that point?
I think he hangs it up. I'll be honest with you. I think he hangs it up. Shout out to J Pitt City. Said Turk wants the trilogy. If Benavidez don't get Bivol, he should fight Caleb Smith off rip. Exactly. 100%. J Pitt said Caleb Smith is a WBC interim. No, J Pitt, no. Caleb Smith is the WBO interim. David Benavidez is the WBC interim. He's a WBC and WBA, a regular unified interim champion, however you want to look at it. Caleb Smith got that WBO title. He took that off Joshua Buatsi.
Hey Clay, what about this Keith Thurman fight? Are you not interested in that at all?
I'm gonna watch it because that's what I do, right? Right, frequent. You know that. So you know what I'm saying?
It comes on at like 9 a.m. or something crazy like that. Something weird.
I'll be up watching it. I ain't gonna lie. I will. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that's right. You off. I thought you was going to be out and about.
No, I'm off. Exactly. It's my day off. So I'll be watching it. I want to see what Keith Thurman looks like. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be shocked if he loses, but I wouldn't be shocked if he wins as well. I think, it's crazy. Keith Thurman kind of gets like this, this jacket put on him, like being somebody who's not him. But he's only lost one fight, and that's the Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying?
But we got to be honest though. If he lose to this guy though, this somebody, don't nobody know who this guy is, man. He like I don't know. I don't want to disrespect him right now, but
right, it's not the time of the year for us to be doing that.
Yeah.
Listen, man, it is what it is, right? But we just saw what Lamont Roach did against Gervonta. You know what I'm saying? Just because we're not super familiar with a fighter doesn't mean that the fighter isn't going to bring his A game. You know?
What's his name? Brock Howard.
Brock something. Brock something. Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah, I think it's Brock Howard. I think.
Let me see here. What do you think about Teofimo slapping Brock Jarvis? No, but Brock Jarvis, look, he look like he in good shape. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He look like he ain't playing, man. You know what I mean? I expect Keith to make this a CrossFit competition. He gonna be moving around, trying to stay out the way of Brock Jarvis delivering any type of power to him. And trying to win these rounds, trying to probably win points. Listen, man. I want to see.
I listened to somebody else talk about the fight, and they called him a solid bum.
A solid bum.
A good sturdy bum.
What's Brock Jarvis's record?
Yeah, I think he undefeated.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We be doing that to these dudes, man. Let me see.
George Kambosos was undefeated too, bro.
He got a loss, but he got 20. Look, he got 22 wins and 20 knockouts, bro. One loss, 5 knockout, which was like against Liam Parra. Liam Parra stopped him.
There you go.
You know what I mean? I mean, look, man. It is what it is, man. I think he's in it to win it, man.
He is.
I want to see how this fight looks tomorrow. I'm gonna definitely
Liam Parra stopped him at 140.
Yeah,
at 140.
Yeah.
So he's moving up to fight Keith Thurman.
He moved.
It figures.
He fought one fight. He fought Adrian Rodriguez. He TKO'd him at 159, 158 catchweight, almost 160.
That just shows you that these guys, aka Devin Haney and the rest of them, are fighting down from these weights, bro. They're all at this weight. It's not just Devin Haney. You know what I mean? That's just a point taken right there, Clay. Good job. Good investigation.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm going down, fellas. My phone is on 1%. I got no power to charge up, so I don't know what I'm. I don't know what's going to happen. I gotta go.
All right, no doubt, man.
Salute, y'all.
Big pause on the going down.
Yeah, Rick Tim says Jarvis lost to a first round KO. Those first round KOs don't say a lot to me. Whenever I see somebody get knocked out in the first round, I'm like, stuff happens. If you get beat down, it's more significant to me than getting knocked out in the first round. Salute, Ann McQueen. What's good with you, family?
Chilling, man. Had to click the link real quick. Salute Claymore, Ray Davis. Where Franklin go? He dropped off?
Yeah, he dropped off. His phone was on 1%.
I feel you, Claymore, as far as like the whole first round knockout thing is concerned, because anybody could get clipped with a shot if they get caught cold, you know?
Right.
The only thing that gives me a little bit of reservation about Jarvis's ability to take a punch and also his KO ratio, because as the brother Rick Timms pointed out, he does have 20 knockouts and 20 wins. But if you look at his box rec, he started his career, I want to say at 16 years old, down at like flyweight or something like that.
Right. You're right. Yeah, he was down there like 115, 118, 117.
Yeah, he was down there like Superfly. So it's kind of difficult to gauge like how much of his power was due to him fighting those smaller guys at that weight. How is it going to translate now at 154 with him being a grown man?
Right.
And then the one time, you know, you seen him get stopped, it was at 40.
Right.
So I'm kind of torn on that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, he's got a fighter in Keith Thurman. I remember one time used to be that knockout dude. I remember when that used to be what he did, right? Like, but as of late, he's been boxing and staying on, you know, as of, you know, what we've seen of him in the past like 8 years and the 3 fights that he's had in the past 8 years. He's kind of been on his toes, you know, kind of moving around. So we'll see.
That's always been Keith's MO. The only thing with Keith is I believe that the successive injuries, he's had a lot of injuries to like his shoulders, his arms, and things of that sort. So I wouldn't be surprised if that sapped some of his power. But stylistically, like he's always fought like that, like up on his toes, move around. He just could crack. What I am interested to see if Jarvis's power does translate, if it does carry up to 154 and it's legitimate, is if he's able to affect Keith to the body, because we've seen Keith hurt to the 100%. Body several times against Luis Collazo, Mario Barrios, Riverside Rocky. What's my man's name? Josecito Lopez. He hit him with a nice shot to the body in like the 7th round, and my man Keith damn near took the whole round off.
Yeah.
And if he is able to get him to the body, is he able to push the pace on Keith? Because I'll say this, as many times we've seen Keith hurt to the body, he's also done a fantastic job of biding his time and recuperating. Like he'll spit that gum shield out in a heartbeat and just get on his bike for the whole round until he recovers. He's hard to pin down when he's hurt. So we'll see. And you made a fantastic point, man, about guys being relatively unknown. And then this is a big opportunity for him too. So I'm pretty sure with that being the case, he's going to approach this with an extra, you know, fervor, you know, some more zeal than he typically would just a run-of-the-mill of opponent. A win over Keith Thurman, that propels him. So we'll see.
That puts him in front of Tim Tszyu, maybe.
Well, that's the goal. But does he take that fight? That's the thing. Keith Thurman doesn't look like he's in the. He didn't want to be called a gatekeeper, but he just looks like he's just taking on these fights that are irrelevant in the game. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess it's a good comeback fight after what 2-3 year layoff, 4 year layoff, whatever it is. But I mean, what happens when you take so much time off is timing, accuracy, power. Everything changes. You're only getting older. You know what I mean? The last thing to go is your power. But at the end of the day, like you just mentioned, like the injuries itself may be hampering that power. So we have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely. What do you guys think about and what do you think about the David Benavidez, Dimitri Bivol negotiations? You think that's legitimate, or you think that's probably not?
Well, Personally, I hope it's legitimate because I would love to see that fight. I mean, I'm open to the trilogy because it would only be fair. One guy got a victory, the other guy got a victory. The only way that you resolve any controversy is to just run it back one more time. You know, fair is fair, but it doesn't seem like Arthur Beterbiev is any rush to make that third fight happen. I was listening to the way he was talking in the post fight. He was saying that he didn't even really want the rematch for real. But you know, I guess being a man of his word and honoring the contract, he ran it back. So, but he doesn't seem like he's in a rush to get it done. And if we can get that fight, I'll take it. I'll take it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely take it. I'm gonna be real. I just don't think it's gonna happen. It doesn't make sense for it to happen. So, just from Turkey's position, I think Turkey holds more weight with Dimitri than that,
right.
for him to
So
do
let's
something
just say wild card wise, Clay, and I say wild card, right? So what happens if he moves what's his name Liam I said Liam yeah, Caleb Smith in the picture over Benavidez, even though there's a mandatory there. You know what I mean? Because of the purse bids or anything that may occur. Because the fight has to happen, right? Where he has to drop the belt. But what if he drops the belt and takes on Caleb Smith? Are they going to be screaming duck? Or are they going to be looking at Turkey like, yo, what did you just do? I thought you were setting up the Benavidez fight. Like, what comes to question in that point?
Well, Turkey already said he's not interested in the fight anymore. And we already know that's obviously some politics involved in that backroom politics stuff, right? I think the fight stays there. I think Dimitri vacates the WBC title or gets stripped of it. David Benavidez becomes champ. He goes and fights Caleb, probably beats Caleb. I would favor him in the Caleb Smith fight. And you let them go ahead and do their trilogy. And then, you know, he's next in line for the unification to give either one of those guys an opportunity to become undisputed twice in the division. I think it's just there. The fight is there. David's young. But I think if you are trying to do the trilogy, you do it now. Or Beterbiev is 41 years old. What is he, 41?
Yeah, 40, about to be 41. Yeah, but I'm excluding Beterbiev, and I'm saying, what if they use Caleb Smith because he's also an interim champion?
Use him. What do you mean? Use him how?
Push him in position instead of, since they don't want that fight with Benavidez, they put Caleb Smith in the picture to fight Bivol. Because that throws a crazy monkey wrench, right? In the works.
So you're saying as far as like that fight checking the boxes on some sort of a mandatory?
No, I'm saying that they push it over the mandatory, right? You let Benavidez take the belt because Turkey said he don't want to see that fight, he's not interested. Then you put in Turkey like, look, I can get Caleb Smith in this ring if Beterbiev is not ready for it. We'll get
Beterbiev is not ready. Okay,
right? Yeah, because that's what the question is. Everybody's like, well, only way they can see the fight not happening is if Beterbiev's not ready. But Turkey don't want to see the fight. So either way, what happens to the opponent of Bivol is what I'm saying. So does Caleb Smith become that opponent?
He would, but he's ready. Beterbiev is ready. He's ready.
I believe so.
Yeah, he's ready.
I believe so. But you know, like Aunt McQueen just said, you know what I mean? He seemed like he had some doubts about returning to the ring. He didn't want to give up the rematch, and then he's in question about taking the trilogy if necessary. He was like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? He just seems nonchalant about it. So that's what I'm getting at.
No, I don't think Beterbiev gave that kind of energy about the trilogy. I think he was talking about how he felt about the rematch period that they were just in. Basically saying that he was talking about that, like this rematch I wasn't that interested in. But I think he is interested in the trilogy. I think he is.
Okay. Well, money's right. Shit, I'll be interested too. I ain't gonna lie to you. But you know.
Yeah, it is what it is. Let me see. Kim Smith or Benavidez. I thought Turkey wanted the best. Yeah, Hunter Young is doing what he does. Salute, Keon. What's good with you, family?
What up, ETB?
You're muted. Oh, he bounced. He'll be back up.
We also have to take Mauricio Suleiman into consideration as well, where he's talking about ordering the fight between Bivol and David Benavidez. So And I think it'll also come. Another factor will be who is willing to bid on the fight to stage it.
Right.
Because Turkey saying he's not interested in it, that's cool. You know, he's
and that's where I think
he's more than within his right to withdraw his interest in the fight and not want to be involved, but somebody else is going to have to step up in order to facilitate the fight. So the question is, who is that going to be? Will it be Matchroom or will it be PBC willing to put the money up and make it a good event?
That was my question at the beginning. Exactly what you just said. Like, I was like, do they let it go to a purse bid? That's where it comes down to. Do they let it go to a purse bid? And if it does, who buys the fight? At that point, I think Turkey outbids everybody, takes the fight on his own account. I think he will buy the fight. I think he'll outbid everybody to take the fight because he wants to make the money on it. I think he's playing chess, not checkers. And I think he'll show his muscle that he has and buy the fight from underneath PBC and Matchroom. I think that's his play, because I think the reason why he got out, this is my opinion, the reason why he got out of it is because once they ordered the mandatory, that puts PBC in a big play, you know what I mean, for the fight to happen over there on their side of the street and remove Turkey completely. So he was like, look, you guys playing games here, you're going to just push me out the way. All right, let it go to purse bid and watch what I do. That's what I think he's doing. I think this is, like I said, chess, not checkers. Because once the promotional companies get the mandatory, then the fighters can make the fight, and those promotional companies take over. Turkey ain't gonna take over that fight. It's too much work for him.
I think Turkey not being interested in that fight is specifically due to David Benavidez's, the loyalties he has to the PBC, as well as Mauricio Sulaiman kind of pulling that belt out of the conversation for the trilogy. I think he just felt some kind of way about the way Mauricio carried it. As far as Mauricio Sulaiman's concerned, I think he's going to backtrack. I think he knows. He knows that he needs Turkey. These dudes are greedy, bro. They want money, man. They're greedy. They don't really have that much integrity. We've seen how Mauricio Sulaiman has carried it as far as defending Canelo Alvarez, never having a mandatory. The way he handled it with David Benavidez. He always puts his belt in the biggest conversations. You saw what he did with Errol Spence, putting him up at number 1 in the rankings. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't care. He doesn't have that much integrity. He's really a greedy dude, and I think Turkey understands that about him. And he's already backtracked to a degree and say he supports Ring Magazine and what those guys are doing. You know what I mean? He doesn't mind it anymore like he did before. So he's going to backtrack. He's going to get himself back in line, and he's going to get back under Uncle Turkey's umbrella. Uncle Turkey. Salute, Keon. Everything good over there now?
Yeah. We good. My bad.
Peace.
Just listen to y'all cook, man.
Yeah. I'm a little under the weather today, man. So I'm kind of like carrying it a little bit, carrying myself, shall I say. But what's good with you, man?
It's that time of the year. Man, just out and about, man. Listening to y'all cook. Want to hop on here, join y'all for a minute. Yeah, man. As far as David Benavidez and Bivol, I don't think that's gonna happen. We see this. We see that go down all the time in boxing. They'll order a fight and say they got this many days to negotiate, and then all of a sudden it just disappeared. So I think it's gonna be the same thing with this fight. As far as the Bivol, the Bivol better be, I think that Turkey more so want that shit to go down. I don't really think that Bitterbeef is too. I don't really think he want that rematch next. I don't think he wants it to where wants to push for it. I think he's doing it for Turkey because I even spoke about it. I think last time I was up here on your panel, how Bitterbeef was kind of basically said in the post-fight interview that it's whatever Turkey want. Right. He was like, I wasn't really interested in this fight,
Right.
So it's kind of like whatever Turkey want. So I think he's just doing it because, basically what he said is this is what Turkey want. I don't really care about it either way. I think I don't know, man. That those fights take a lot out of you. Having to fight back the same dude back to back to back, and they not no just pity pat fights. They hurting each other up in there. They putting on, they it's a lot of wear and tear on their body.
Right. I agree with you. Especially when you're doing 12 rounds. 12 rounds. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're not even, it's not like you're getting stopped early or something like that. So I agree with you. I think Turkey has the leverage as far as these guys don't want to let him down. So they'll do the fight just off the strength of him. Off strength of him, but they don't really want it that way. So let me ask you this. If Beterbiev isn't interested in that fight happening for real, and let's say Turkey just respects it, like, if you don't want it, you don't want it. Does Turkey change his mind and put together the Benavidez Bivol fight? Or is this personal for him at this point?
I think it's personal because you heard him say Bivol knows. Basically, he said Bivol knows whatever he said, but it pretty much in so many words is like he know not to bite the hand that feed him.
Right.
He knows where his bread is buttered at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like he know who didn't pay him. He know who's gave him, the money that he never seen before. So don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Right.
Well, I think it actually goes beyond the money though, because shout out to my man L Dub. He was talking about the other day. It goes beyond the money. It was actually, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, it was actually some step aside money that was paid, that Turkey paid out of his pocket in order to facilitate that fight. So in order for him to fight Beterbiev, Turkey also had to pay somebody else. So it goes beyond just the payday. It's like, yo, I paid somebody else just so you can have an opportunity to realize your dreams, because that's what Bivol's been chasing all these years, is undisputed. You seen how elated he was after the rematch, after he was declared the winner. So you can tell that was very personal for him, like beyond like, oh, I'm just getting paid.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, you don't want to you don't want to turn your back on the one that got you that opportunity. And he basically saying like he know what's up.
Yeah. He definitely understands. That's what I'm saying. Dimitri understands. And the thing about it is boxing gave their whole ass to Dimitri to kiss, right? Like they never really showed him the type of respect that he kind of deserved. After the Canelo fight, he got that respect, but still, as far as putting the fights together, none of these promoters wanted to jump behind these fights getting put together. Turkey's the one who grabbed those guys up and brought them together to be undisputed. And both of them have been undisputed off the strength of Turkey. So there's got to be some loyalty to him. There's got to be some loyalty to those guys as far as like, nah, you guys are going to come up in here right now and all of a sudden jump in the middle is like, hey, champ, we got big opportunities over here. Like, nah, bro. Nah, I'm straight. I'm straight where I'm at. You can have that belt. Let David be full WBC champion. Me and Beterbiev running for the trilogy. And then we'll see what we can always fight David Benavidez later and become 2 times undisputed in the division, 2 or 3 times, depending on who wins between Beterbiev and Bivol, right? So it is what it is. It is what it is. What do you guys think about this whole entire what do you think about Vergil Ortiz and Bakhram? You guys think what do you think about Vergil fighting all these crazy Eastern Europeans, bro? Like he just won't stop. Like what's good with this? Like is this a good move or should he slow down?
I think so, man. I think it is a good move. But before I expound upon that, I'm a little bit torn, Clay, because what you said was reasonable. Somebody that came through, it is important to show solidarity, and thug it out with them. But by the same token, I also feel like you can't be indebted forever where you put in your work and you carried your own weight in that situation as well. So yeah, great opportunity 2 times. The first attempt was unsuccessful. He was successful in the rematch, but he paid in sweat equity. That's the way I look at it, because he's the one that ultimately has to go through however many weeks. And like my man Keon was saying a couple minutes ago about the fights being grueling. Beyond that, just think about the preparation. How many rounds do you think they had to put in to go 24 rounds? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
how many rounds, however many months, is like it boils down to 36 minutes, but we're talking about 8 to 10 week camps. We're talking about months literally going into 36 minutes. So That's a
Yeah,
lot to get up for, especially for a man that's about to be 41 years old. It's like, do I really want to put myself through that? But to Vergil, I say, hell yeah. If the opportunity is there to capture another title against a quality opponent, I say, why not? I think it's a very good fight, and I think it shows his mettle. And it's probably best to take those fights now. It's very tricky because sometimes it could be a little bit too soon for certain fighters. You got like a Marvis Frazier type of situation where he got in there too soon. Like his 11th fight or his 10th fight, they threw him in there with Larry Holmes, like back in the 80s, he got destroyed. And then a couple fights later, they put him in there with Mike Tyson. Like, it was just too soon. But I feel like Vergil, he's had enough quality opposition, enough resistance. With Robert Garcia being under his tutelage, he seems to have like a really good grasp on the fundamentals. We see he's got the fighting spirit, fights with a lot of exuberance and all that good stuff. And then just like back to back, like you were saying, you fight a Sergey Boachuk and Israel Madrimov back to back. I think now is the perfect time to fight a Bakhram, a guy like that. You don't want to mess around and you wait until you're in your early 30s or mid 30s, and then you start taking those fights. Like a guy like Steve Claggett. Steve Claggett didn't get a title opportunity until he was 35 years old against a Teofimo Lopez. So you don't want to wait. Like, get these guys now while you're in your physical prime, and then you can kind of coast. Like we seen like what Canelo did. Canelo took most of the tougher fights in his early 20s, late 20s, and then now he's handpicking the Edgar Berlangas and John Ryders and you know what I mean? Jaime Munguias of the world. So I think that's the other way to do it. Put yourself in a position where you build up the reputation, the cachet, then you could take some of the relatively easier fights. But that's just my take on it.
I actually like that take. I didn't think about it like that. Like, this is the perfect time to take it. Like, take that momentum into that fight. I just what did you guys think about Vergil Ortiz in the ring with Israel Madrimov? Didn't he look huge?
Yeah, but
like, what do you think he's coming in fight night when he comes in the ring at 154 when he makes
he's definitely coming up bigger than what most fighters are. I mean, Vergil looked like he was light heavyweight recovery light heavyweight.
So do you think he was like up there like 165 in the ring that night?
More than that.
Like 170.
I looked at the shoulder. Like, see, I always look at the rotator on the shoulders. That shows you the solid rehydration and how that forms into the delts. That kind of shows you how big they are. And then obviously the back, right? Vergil doesn't seem to have like a wide back. He's just more pause. He just seems to have like really broad shoulders. And when he loses weight, you can see those shoulders that shrink. So when he recoups, he's like you know what I mean, just shoulders and straight. But I think on the sense of just Vergil being as big as he was, I mean, it is. But then again, I didn't know Madrimov was that small. Let's keep it real. I didn't know he was that small in comparison to Vergil or even Bud, because he didn't look that much smaller than Bud, right, at that time. So eyes could be playing tricks on me as well. I would say, if anything, he was anywhere from 165 to 178, in my opinion. I didn't touch on the other part, but we're good. We're going to keep it moving.
The reason I'm asking that, by the way, is because fighting Bakhram is going to be under that rehydration clause.
Right.
Right, with that IBF rehydration clause. Or is it not going to be because he's an interim WBC title holder?
No, it still applies. He's not a champion.
Right. So Vergil kind of like has had a history of dealing with, you know, bad weight cuts, you know what I'm saying, to say the least. Fighting against a Bakhram and having that 10-pound rehydration clause, is that a good thing or bad thing? Is that something that's just real doable for him? Or, you know, Bakhram's a puncher.
No, I think he can make the weight. I don't think the weight's the issue. Remember, the rehydration clause is only to the morning of the show, of the fight. You know what I mean? It all depends on what they write in the contract as well. They may have some stipulation put in there where, hold on a second, my son is talking. I don't know if y'all hear him, but let me shut him up.
It is what it is. What do you guys think, Keon? Do you think that rehydration clause could be an issue for Vergil?
Oh yeah, definitely, because we've seen the issues that Vergil has had, you know, with weight at 147. So he got to put on a rehydration clause. Yeah, that could be a big issue for him. You know,
Right.
we've never seen it play out inside the ring, but it's it could play out as far as him, trying to basically, before the fight.
Right.
So that's always something you got to look at with Vergil Ortiz, and especially with the condition that they say he has.
Right.
And it only comes on when he's trying to cut weight.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think that Bakhram fight is a potential. I don't know. I just think he might want to just chill, take a tune up, or take a stay busy fight. Allow the division to kind of play out a little bit. Allow the Sebastian Fedor, Tordell Booker fight to kind of come together and play out. Allow a couple of things to move around, and then kind of make his choice there, because he's a WBC interim title holder. He's not an IBF.
That's a dangerous fight for him. The fight that I think that he should go after, even though I don't want to see it because I'm a fan of it. I'm a huge fan of this fighter. But a fight that he should go after, that's a huge fight for him, is he should try to get Errol Spence in the ring.
Okay.
And Errol is hard headed, so he'll take that shit coming right in the game.
Right. No tune-ups.
If it's a big money fight, Errol gonna take it. But just because I know that Errol's been out because he still was, trying to give himself a chance to heal up all the injuries that he had and things like that, and the trainer situation. But if he's still planning on coming back, if I'm Vergil Ortiz, that's the fight that I'm calling out. Like, look, what's up?
Yep, that works. Yeah. That actually again, those are one of those fights that might backfire on him too. Errol Spence fights in the pocket, just like Boachuk. So that might be a dangerous fight for Vergil. I don't think he likes those fighters that counter him in a phone booth. It just showed with that fight, and I think Errol can actually beat him in that type of fight, because Errol it didn't look like he liked being on the outside boxing with Bud as much as he maybe it was just the conditions. I don't know. I'm not making excuses, but to me, it just he didn't look comfortable. Being in there with somebody like Kell Brook, being Ugas, all those guys he was in the pocket with, and when he got into that breadbasket, that's what he attacked. So they're basically the similar fighters, right? What I was saying earlier too, just to recap, Clay, is you're only as good as your last fight, and that's a public perception. We only see how these fighters look when they're in their last fights or the last couple of fights, and we're like, oh, this is the guy, until they get beat or they look normal. And once they look normal, then we want to jump ship and go to the next guy that looks fly, right? Pause. But that seems to be the way that the boxing goes. It's always been that way. It's going to continue to carry that way. Bakhram has had one fight in 2 fights in 3 years or something like that, or 3 fights in 3 years. So there hasn't been that many fights, so nobody wants to fight him. So being that the case, he's only as good as knocking Tim Tszyu clearly out the ring and stopping him. Now you got Vergil Ortiz, who came off a really close decision, then beat the guy that was supposed to beat him up, right? He beat the guy that was supposed to beat him up, and now he's going into the ring with Bakhram, thank you. I almost said Bakhram. My bad. He's going in the ring with Bakhram, and Bakhram looks like he's steady and ready, right? He looks like he's ready. He's ready to go. He's from Kazakhstan or wherever the rest of them guys are that is just hard punching, chin down, walk forward, know how to box, be on their toes when they need to be. He's an all around good fighter, and they punch hard. So that's going to be a very interesting fight on that point. But as Key was just saying, I'm going to wrap this up and land his plane. Yeah, man, the weight's a problem. And maybe taking a fight with somebody like Earl, maybe a Charles Conwell. They're in the same camp. Why not go after an Oscar fighter? Put somebody that's relevant in front of you. You know what I mean? Make that a good fight. Or maybe get in there with Jose Ramos, who just had a good performance on the PBC. You know what I mean? Let's jump that ship and make that happen. But I think Bakhram's a little too fast, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. The fight that I think he should take, that I think would be a big fight, Puerto Rico against Mexico, man. Standard.
I knew you were going to say that.
Xander's number 1 in the WBO rankings. He's also on the hunt trying to get a Sebastian Fundora fight. So both you guys are in the same run. Y'all should run it. And I think you get Xander Zayas while he's young. You get him right now while he's still not there yet. You know, strategically just get this kid out the way. You know what I mean? Give him that experience, or maybe Xander wins it. Who knows? But you know, that's a good fight. Puerto Rico against Mexico, Xander Zayas versus Vergil Ortiz. It's sort of a downstep from the fights he's been fighting potentially. I don't know. What do you guys think about Xander Zayas and Vergil Ortiz?
I think that's dangerous for Xander more so than Vergil. It can go both ways though, because I just underestimated Vergil.
Xander's trying to get up there with Sebastian. He's
trying to get. I underestimated Vergil in his last fight. So you know what I mean. I'm not going to tell you that it's not possible for him to get in there and make a competitive fight. I just think that the ring experience of this championship pedigree of Vergil Ortiz plays a bigger part in the ring experience, and I think it's a great fight. I think it's something that can pose a good threat to Vergil's capabilities of what he can do in a ring with a boxer that's young and has energy to bounce around and move around. Prepares him for a Bakhram, right? And it gives Xander the best experience he's going to get with a real, true competitor for a championship. Good fight.
Yeah, I like it. What do you guys think about Hitchens at 140, man? Should he move up to 147 at this point?
Man, defend your mandatory, bro. Stop running. Stop running.
What do you guys think on that one? On Richard Hitchens? He seems like he's ducking Subriel Matias. I ain't gonna lie. At this point, that's what it looks like. At this point, it looks like he's ducking Subriel Matias. 100%.
Well, I don't know about at this point. I think that he's probably a little bit more comfortable at 140. Initially, I agree with you 1,000% because when Subriel Matias had the IBF strap, my guy Hitchens, he was talking about he wasn't really too fond of the IBF rehydration rules and he wasn't really comfortable with it and yada, yada, yada. But prior to the Paro fight, well, let me say this. Let me backtrack a little bit. In between the Paro fight and the Lemos fight, that's when he got himself a nutritionist and a strength and conditioning coach and so on and so forth. And he was able to make 140 a lot more comfortable going into the Paro fight. So I think that now he may be a little bit more apt to take the fight with Subriel Matias, but probably a year or two ago, I would say 1,000%. He didn't want that Matias smoke, mainly due to being uncomfortable at the weight. Because like Ray Davis was talking about before, you look at Richard Hitchens, his frame. He has the frame where he can easily be up at 147. You can tell just looking at his shoulders, his back, the musculature, and all that other stuff. I'm looking at him sometimes, I'm like, I don't even know how the hell he's making 140. Because he's like a solid 5'10". He got the wide shoulders. He got that, what's the name type of build, that Thomas Hearns type of build.
Yeah.
But I think that now he might be a little bit more comfortable taking that fight for several reasons. One, being more comfortable at 140. And two, also seeing how Liam Paro was able to deal with Subriel Matias. And then with Hitchens having his own win over Paro, it may also give him a little boost in confidence. Like, okay, if I can deal with this, yada, yada, yada. Kind of like the blueprint is out on Subriel Matias. And we'll see. Should he stay at 140 though? Yeah, I think so. I think he should stay at 140 for the time being, because what's up there at 147? You're going to relinquish your belt and then what? So at least if you stay down there right now, there's a slew of quality guys from the fight. Maybe even give Sandor Martin a fight. That would be a quality matchup. Pursue one of the other champions in Quayle or Gary Russell or even Teofimo Lopez, or the winner between Teofimo Lopez and Arnold Barboza. If Barboza would have won that fight against Teofimo Lopez, I don't see that being a difficult fight made, because they're both over there at Matchroom, if I'm not mistaken. So,
but DAZN.
Yeah. Well, DAZN as the broadcaster. So I think they can make that fight happen. So, yeah, stay at 140.
It seems like he doesn't like that IBF title. I ain't gonna lie. It just seems like he doesn't like it. Seems like he don't want that title. He wants to unify, or he doesn't really like that rehydration clause.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what he does. But I know whenever Subriel Matias' name come up, he found a way around it every time.
Maybe they sparred or something that we don't know about.
I think he more so knows his punch resistance isn't there.
I think so.
That rehydration
the same way. That's why I think he stayed away from a lot of fighters, Clay. Believe it or not.
Bivol had him running on skates. He had him skating around.
Right. And I'm not going to lie to you. I've seen that in that fight, but I've also seen it with the dude from Ireland, right? He put him on his wheelhouse, making him feel all. I'm sorry. What did the dude from Ireland? I'm tripping. No, it was Limos. Excuse me. Limos was putting him on his wheelhouse, and he was making him move and jump into places he didn't need to be. Like he just didn't feel comfortable. So I think with somebody that like Liam Parle, who likes to walk you and trap you into areas where you can't elude him, and then he gets flat-footed and start or just digs in, as they would say, right? And he just starts wailing on you. I think that poses a big threat, and I think that's in the back of his mind every time he fights. He thinks about that fight. Do I think he can beat Matias? Absolutely. Again, they're fighters. Any one of them could beat each other at any day of the week. So it's not a problem of I think he can't beat him. I just think that he just doesn't want to. He doesn't like the punishment. He doesn't like the pressure. And remember, I told you about certain fighters, like they know they get hit, and some fighters just don't like getting hit more than other fighters. He's one of those fighters that don't like to get hit. He wants to hit and not get hit. And the way he reacts is you can see the way his stance is. Long bow and arrow stance, throwing that long jab. Very slow too. I didn't know he was excuse me for no disrespect to him, but he's not as fast as the other guys that I thought he was, that he claims to be better than, especially with similar styles. He doesn't have that reaction. He can be. I think I've seen him at that before he started the rehydration thing or the nutrient program, whatever, nutritionist. He seemed like he was a little quicker and responsive, but now that he's been on this like nutrition thing, he looks a little slow. In the last two fights, he looks very like stalemate. Like he's easy target for some of these faster guys.
I think he's pretty sharp and pretty quick. I would say this though, Ray. You said something interesting about the pressure. And it's something I noticed in the Limos fight. In the fight that he had with Ramirez. I think for Richards and Hitchens, for him to take the next step as a fighter, he's got to maximize his opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to maximize his opportunity. He's got to scrape the plate, because there's a lot of times where he'll take a step back or a half step back, and he'll make the guy fall just short with his punch, but he won't counter him. He's just content with just resetting and getting out of range. And I think he's actually got decent power. I think he's got deceptive power. I'm not saying that it's concussive. He's not Julian Jackson, none of that. But if you watch the fight that he had with John Bowser, man, he was putting it on him. And then when he had Bowser hurt, he didn't seize the opportunity. So I think that's what it comes down to with Richards and Hitchens. It's more so the mentality. Like you said, he likes to be cute and clean. And clean. Whereas like sometimes you got to get a little bit dogged. You got to get a little bit dirty. And when you have these opportunities, you got to maximize them. And the one thing about Subriel Matias, that dude is a buzzsaw. He's relentless. He's undeterred. So the one way that you deal with a guy like that is not by staying away from him, because we've seen him deal with guys like Malik Hawkins, who I thought Malik Hawkins did a fantastic job boxing from the outside. But how long can you sustain that? Just moving around on the back foot and moving around laterally, and then occasionally you got certain shots touching you to the body and your stamina starting to deplete. How long can you sustain that? You got to do it the way that Liam Parle did it. And Liam Parle did it with physical controls. He was utilizing frames and pins and manipulating his guard. Because Subriel Matias, he walks forward with the high guard. He's inconsistent with his jab. So the best way to stop a runaway train is you don't let that thing get out the station. So if you don't want him to throw his punches, keep his hands at home. Use frames, use pins, use posts, use probes, and be physical with him. And then boom, clinch him, off the clinch break, bang, bang, hit him Like you used to see like Bernard Hopkins do, or Andre Ward, or Floyd. Guys being able to utilize their forearms, throw shots, boom, boom, frame them back up. Don't let them get his hands off. But the thing with
Yep.
Hitchens doesn't fight that type of style. He likes to be clean and be on the outside, like you said. He wants to reset. So
Yep.
he's got to make up his mind in a fight like that. Like, okay, I got to be physical with this guy, and there's a chance that I may be in range. Because I do think that he's a little bit sturdier than even what he believes. Because he took some damn good shots, like you said, in the fight with Lamont. He made it through that. I was like, oh, he actually does have a chance. But it doesn't seem like he believes it. He got to believe it in his ability to take a shot.
Facts.
Yeah, definitely. I think we got to see what Hitchens is gonna do as far as where do you want to be at. That IBF title has that rehydration clause, and outside of a unification, you're gonna have to deal with that. And if you're feeling like if that's gonna stop you from fighting Subriel Matias, then maybe you're too big for the division. I don't know. But if you're gonna stay down there, you're gonna have to fight your mandatories, man. You can't sit here and play that game and be running around here. You know what I mean? Looking for a George Kambosos who's got a fight. You don't even know he's going to win that fight yet. I mean, it is what it is. Kind of like cherry picking a little bit. You know what I'm saying? What do you guys think about this the new relationship with Turkey and Dana White, and you know, stirring the whole space up. You know what I'm saying? Where you guys at with it at this point?
I stand on what I always stand on, man. Like, always let things develop before I make a judgment, because unless it's something that's obviously and blatantly like out of control, right? We don't know where it's going. I think a lot of people would like to throw stain and ugly characteristics of words at things that are new that they're not used to. Sometimes things that change are for the better, right? And I think this could be one of those things, based on the sanctioning bodies. I think you mentioned earlier, a lot of greed there, a lot of unsatisfying victories given to champions. And I'm not talking about Gervonta, please. I'm talking about like the Teal situation with Jermaine Ortiz, the Teal situation with Martin. The same thing with the WBC and Martin. Like, we just seen a lot of little questionable wins here and there, and even Vergil Ortiz and Chuck, right? A lot of questionable things that could have went either way, that people felt that the person that lost was the winner, clearly. And that comes to, I think, sanctions getting together with the corruption of boxing and allowing these things to happen. I know the judges do the scorecards, but it's like, is there any persuasion? Whereas you have somebody like Turkey who wants to clean up, that wants to make one belt, want to get rid of the sanctions and make it a little cleaner. A lot of people are trying to push the narrative of it's Dana White, and he wants to push, like, cut the salaries, like I said, the dirty tactics of using different things to air out dirty laundry, right? Oh, he wants to cut their salaries down and give them like a step pay, and depending on your status, it should be anyway, right? They do that anyway, period. Like, if you're a circuit fighter, you're making like $5,000 a fight. If you're the main event, you know what I mean? If you're somebody that's in a regional, you're probably making a little bit more than that. So it's that anyway. Only thing they're doing is just trying to consolidate to one championship belt, which is the world championship belt. That's always been a world championship belt. Yes, the WBC is just as prestige, in my opinion, because I think it came along and replaced that belt in its history of boxing, recent boxing, I should say. But at the same time, man, it is what it is. Like, who really cares? Let it develop, and let's see what happens before we start like shooting down targets or shooting down ducks in the sky with blank guns. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm with it. You know what I mean? I'm with it. I want to see what it looks like, man. Boxing has been so corrupt and messed up for so many years. Us not getting the fights we want to get. You know, sanctioning bodies playing their games, fighters cherry picking, being protected. I'm interested in seeing a league that's a little bit more organized and structured. I don't see the threat that people see. You know, the things they say is just like, where are you guys getting this from? It's a competition. It's a competitive market. I don't get it. I don't see the like, what is it? Like, Stop Turkey. We need to stop Turkey. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is, you don't own nothing, right? You're just a fan and you're here to see the fights happening. What exactly is your angle at pushing down what Turkey's doing? I don't understand. Or even if he's bringing Dana in it, what is the big deal? Can somebody paint or give me some understanding? Like, you know, like paint this picture for me that makes me kind of understand what people are worried about, and as boxing fans, what people are worried about. Does anybody have any like input on that? Like, what is it?
It could be summarized in one word, Clay.
Yeah.
Paranoia. That's it.
I like it.
Boxing fans love to complain,
It's
man. We love to complain. We don't want to see any change. When change occurs, the sky is falling. We're talking about corruption as if the sport hasn't been corrupt for over 100 years since the mafia's involvement and fixed fights. You can go back all the way back to way back in the day, like battling Siki. He was scheduled to take a dive versus George Carpenter in the 1900s. You know what I mean? Like, this has been going on. So all of a sudden, this one guy who's a new face and he appears to have some cachet, or he's got the resources to make some things happen. Naturally, people are going to put up resistance. It's just paranoia. That's all it is.
Yep.
I think most of it got to do with just straight out my favorite fighter. Don't like him. When he came in the game, my favorite fighter, let it be known that he didn't like him because he trying to make my favorite fighter fight the fighters that he don't want to fight. So my favorite fighter put this battery in my back, you know, and he happens to be with a certain promotional company. So I got to ride with my favorite fighter. That's basically what this shit was about. Because if that same favorite fighter was like, man, yeah, shit, I like what he doing, I'm effing with him. Like, yeah, man, I don't have no problem with it. Like, I would like to do some business with him one day myself. Will we be hearing this from 90% of the fans? Let's just keep it real. Like, do y'all honestly think that we would be hearing all of this pushback from 90% of the fans? Because 90% of the fans that we hearing all of the negativity come from is from a certain fan base. Let's just keep it a buck. I'm not finna sugarcoat it. It's from a certain fan base. So with that being said, when it comes to Turkey, I think that's what most of it is about. You know, just basically follow the leader type shit. But when it comes to Turkey and Dana White, now I think that people have had a problem with Dana White for a long time. You know, I think one of the biggest issues with Dana White is going to be, is going to be the pay. Is he going to try to come in and pay these boxers, right, the same shit that he was paying these UFC fighters? That's what a lot of people going to have a problem with, that connection, right? Is Dana White going to be in charge of, you know, what these fighters are getting paid? Because if he's in charge, now people get nervous and scared because of the financial aspect of it. You're going to make you know, Dana White his motto is he's not going to pay you that, you know, he's not going to pay you no outrageous money, but he's always going to make sure that you fight the top competition.
Right.
And that's not going to fly. And that ain't going to slide with the way that boxers, you know, have been brought up.
Yeah, I think that they're talking about basically building fighters up from the ground up, having a league like this. The big stars are always going to get the big bags. I think that the difference between the UFC and what he's doing right now is when the UFC was coming out, he didn't have the budget that he has now. He had to build the UFC up. You know what I'm saying? It had to make money. It had to make sense in order for it to get to where it was at. Now he has Turkey and TKO backing him on the finance. They know these headliners, and that's what I believe is going to happen. They're going to build these headliners up, big headliners, you know, like Canelo and Terrence. They're going to pay those guys their big bags. But I do believe the undercard is going to be a bunch of fighters that we probably don't know that much of, and they're going to be building up this league, and there's going to be a structure there, a ranking structure there, and they're going to build those guys up, keep them active, and pay them, $30,000 to $50,000 a fight until they build themselves up to the hundreds and so forth and so forth. I would think any fighter that takes advantage of fighting in this league would take advantage of it based on the activity that they're gonna have, and that means a lot. I think most boxers don't get paid that much money. Like only the top dogs get the money. Like
You're right.
You know what I mean? The guys who are under like top, like the 15 and lower, them dudes is walking away with like $100,000, $50,000, bro. $20,000.
Not even that a lot of times. Sometimes they don't even make that.
Right. They
So
make like Tank
so
said
yeah,
that, right?
you absolutely right about the activity, because look, the activity equals more money. So yeah, you got a great point. The activity equals more money. If you fight making $100,000, let's just say, and you only get one fight a year, but then you fighting, 4 times a year and you making 50,000, that's still more.
Yeah. I think whatever fighters jump into this are going to be fighters that find an advantage in it, that want to do it. They're going to know what it is. And I think we sleep on fighters on their acumen to handle their own business. They have lawyers, they have managers, they have people, they got to make sure that they sign the right contracts and they get what they got to get out of it. We can't keep looking at it like these dudes are defenseless and Turkey's coming here to take advantage of them like some defensive female in a dark alley. You know what I mean? I think money-wise is going to make sense. Working with Turkey has always made sense money-wise. Until he shows me different, I'm not going to subscribe to the idea that he's going to be robbing these dudes and paying them nothing to put their life on the line. I just don't believe it until it happens. When it happens, then we'll deal with it then. But I think people just in America, and especially the urban space, they feel like they have a certain ownership on boxing. That's really a fantasy in their mind. You don't have any ownership in it. As a boxing fan, you're here to see the fights, and Turkey's facilitating fights. I don't see what issues you have with that. Personally, I really don't. I don't see how you have a problem with being a boxing fan. The problem is these boxing fans want to become managers and businessmen, and they want to talk about money, and they want to talk in conversations that they really don't rate speaking in. And honestly, a lot of these content creators who do it is because they don't watch boxing. You know what I'm saying? So they sit there and they focus on business. Yeah, and they try to act like the business is a great conversation when it's not, because they hide it from you. You don't get to see what's going on in the back room. You don't know how the money's moving around. You have no idea what's going on, but you make your whole conversation about that instead of speaking about boxing, instead of speaking about what you can see, what you can deal with, which is the fights or lack of fights, and speak on that. It is what it is. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Turkey's going to do with this league. I'm super excited, bro. And they're probably going to do a deal with Netflix. If it's not Netflix, I'm pretty sure I feel like it's going to be Netflix. That's going to work with Dana, and they're just gonna pop off, bro. They're just gonna pop off. That's what I believe. They're gonna pop off, bro. They're not gonna do the pay-per-view model. They're gonna do the Netflix model, where you're gonna see the fights on Netflix, and they're gonna be getting 2, 3, 4, 5 million plus views, and bringing all types of members to Netflix that weren't there before, and they're gonna make a whole lot of damn money.
And you know what else is going to do? It's going to change. It's going to change a lot in boxing from top to bottom. A lot of these fighters, they getting in the boxing thinking that they like a get rich quick scheme, and it don't work like that.
Right.
Like, I can basically, I can go around having to fight the best, and just as long as I have a big social media following, I can get a quick bag. A lot of these fighters, a lot of these guys coming in the sport, they thinking that, right? So it's gonna change the mentality of the fighters that's coming in the sport. You're gonna see who really is in the sport for the love of it, right? Because a lot of these guys right now, the way that they be trying to move, I don't think they'll be in the sport of boxing. If if boxing was ran like the UFC, to where you actually had to grind and work your way up to the top, right? The UFC, man, these UFC fighters, if you look at how it's built, like these fighters ain't worried about putting a lot of false narratives on the internet, and oh man, I got a bigger social media following than this guy, so I'm gonna be put up in the rankings, and that's what boxing was becoming. Wasn't about like what talent you had or how good you was, and can this guy beat this guy? Can your skills beat his skills? Wasn't about that. So with Dana White coming in, I think that he's gonna change it back to that. Because at one point boxing was that, but then we got away from that. And man, it is gonna change a lot. It's gonna change the way that the fans think. It's gonna change a lot of these lies and all the bullshit that go on in boxing. It's gonna take some time, but I guarantee you, 5 years from now, it's gonna be a whole different boxing conversation than you see that be going on now on social media.
I agree 100%. Shout out here for boxing with the $5. Smash the like button and hit that super chat today. For sure. Yeah, guys, but I ain't gonna lie. I'm about to wrap it up a little early. I'm feeling like trash. This Dayquil is starting to wear off. So I'm probably gonna re-up on that and probably go lay it up, bro. I ain't gonna even lie to you guys. I appreciate you guys coming up here on the platform today and building with me, man. Thanks for weathering the storm with me. I know I ain't been the most exciting host today, but I decided to come up because I didn't want to let the community down. But yeah, I'm feeling like trash. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if you guys want to put your last statements around.
Yeah. Man, get better, man. Get some rest up, get better. Shit, man. Lemon, honey, and damn, man, I just lost all train of thought, but yeah, rest up, get better, man. Yeah,
man.
Oh.
I'm gonna definitely lay it up. My body aching, so I'm looking forward to laying in my bed. Catch something stupid on Amazon.
Yeah, go eat snow, Clay. That'll change it all. Go up in the mountains over there. Go grab some snow. I'm just messing with you.
All right. Turmeric and ginger, right, J Pitt? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to. That's the word I was trying to. Ginger and turmeric with a little lemon and honey in it, man. Thank you. That's what I was trying to. I don't know. Yeah. I just lost all train of thought, but yeah, that was it right there.
Yeah, no doubt.
They get you right. But I appreciate y'all, man. Salute to everybody on the panel. Hell of a show, like always.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Ant, what's good, man?
Man, expedient recovery to you and the missus.
Yeah.
Feel better soon. You talk about wrapping it up like you ain't been up here 2 hours.
Yeah, normally we be up here like 3.5, 4 hours. I ain't gonna lie, you know what I mean? But today's just one of those days. Like I just am not feeling
2 hours is still a long time, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, most shows on actual television, they don't go for 2 hours.
Right.
They might give you a half hour, give you an hour, but they ain't gonna give you 2 hours. So, you know what I mean? Don't be too hard on yourself. You did a fantastic job. Great host. Shout out to Keon, Frequent, my man Ray Davis. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.
No doubt, man. Peace. All right, Ray. Another one in the books, man.
Yes, sir. So yeah, my little delay tactic. I'm glad I let you know early, man. That was rough. Having to drive that boy all the way out to another way out to take him to school. You know what I mean?
They be trying us, right? Act like he overslept and
Well, it was my wife's doing. I would have just let the boy stay home, but
yeah,
you can't beat your wife, bro. You can win all those other fights, Clay, but you can't beat your wife. I'm telling y'all. Keep trying. Keep trying. I'm telling you.
It is what it is, man.
All day.
He said, "Am I doing a double with Blue later?" I don't know, man. We'll see how I feel. I want to go lay it down. Take some Dayquil. Probably put some. It's Ramadan, so
you said ginger shots. So you saying Fireball?
Huh?
What are you saying? Fireball and that ginger shots? Fireball?
No, I don't know what. No, but I know that ginger shots. I can't wait for my wife to come home because then she's gonna take care of me and get me together. But
look at you, big baby. Look at Clay. Go ahead.
She's gonna do the stuff. She's gonna make the tea. She's gonna make the. You know what I mean? She's gonna get me together.
Yeah, that's what's up. My wife do the same thing, man. Take care of that man, right?
Yeah, man.
Queens do. Salute to the queens.
I appreciate you guys, man. Salute to everybody in the building, man. Boxing as usual, man. Put boxing first. No fighters above the whole sport. And, you know, at this point, I appreciate you guys. But we out.
They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate.